Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's Monday, November the 1st, and welcome back to the shop. Well, in fact, welcome back to the shop 2.0. I've just spent the last 3 weeks renovating the shop. So what I've done is I have cleaned the whole place out, patched and painted all of the walls, epoxied the floor, and at the same time, I took the room and I split it about 70-30, which means 70% of the room now is what I'm going to refer to as the clean room or the clean side. This is the assembly side. 30% of that original room is devoted to sandblasting and compressors and grinders and welders. So any work I need to do, I'm going to be able to do behind closed doors. That'll keep the trash out of this area and keep this area clean. And you know, when you think about assembly, you have to think about dirt and grit, because when you're working on paint, and you have a cloth and you put that cloth down and it picks up some metal or picks up some fragment that you don't realize, and you then wipe a panel, you know, you can scratch that panel. So I'm truly, after 20 months of putting this car together, I'm going to be a little overcautious, and forgive me for that. But basically, I want to make sure this car gets back together without too many scratches before it even hits the road. And speaking of road, it's not going to be on the road probably for about 4 months, because winter's here, November 1st. I'll be lucky if I can get this car back on the road by March. So that gives me 3 or 4 months, but we have a lot to do. And 3 or 4 months sounds like a lot, but you know what? You work on the car a couple hours a day and, you know, time flies by. But the car is ready to be assembled. So let's take a look at some of those parts. So just a quick recap. Obviously the car is painted in Acapulco blue. Now, of course, forgive the terry cloths here, but they're protecting the hood when I close the hood against the fenders, because the fenders are not bolted in place yet. And the reasoning is, well, first off, you can tell by that terrible gap, but the reason these fenders are not yet bolted in place is because I have yet to put in the rock and mud guards. Now, those are the plates that go in front of the headlight, and then, of course, the other one goes just in front of the A-pillar, and that protects the dirt and mud and rocks from getting up. The engine, of course, is pretty well done as it is. I don't think there's anything left to do. Obviously, install the air cleaner, but that's it. But everything is done under here that I'm going to want to get done. I, of course, need to still install the louvers and, of course, the signal lights and all of that. So a lot of assembly to do. Air conditioning has all been plumbed in, so that's all been done. And like I said, the extensions are still on their threaded rod. Again, you know, waiting for me to take this back off and start working on it. Now, the interior is a two-tone interior. Now, this is a combination of what's called light and dark blue metallic. I have yet to paint the doors, but as we can see by the doors here, you know, we're gonna have the door skin. The gray that's still primer right now is going to be the light blue metallic. The panels are a dark blue metallic, again, the two-tone. Same thing with the dash. The dash is going to be a light blue metallic. You've got the dash pad is a dark blue, and again, the same thing in the back. So there's going to be that color combination. And of course, when we talk about the center console, the same thing. And then as we move down the side of the car, I've got the holes pre-drilled again for the side louver chrome. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the light blue or the Acapulco blue metallic, I really do like it with a lot of chrome on it. So I'm going to put everything on this car that was chrome. And the reason I'm going to show you that is because basically when you take a look at how the blue looks with the chrome on it, I mean, yes, we're going to be putting chrome everywhere we can. Now, speaking of chrome, so there is the rear bumper. You can see very shiny. That's a brand new, because remember, this car was rear-ended, so the original bumper was no good. Now, that's the original front bumper. I cleaned it up, and it came out really, really nice. Now, whether or not that's original to 68 or that was replaced sometime during the life of the car, it's hard to say, but it is a high-quality bumper, very heavy, so that's a good thing. And, of course, there's the subwoofer and the front speakers, and, of course, the roof, the amplifier board for the back. And as I said, so there's the side rocker chrome. So again, I'm putting that on for sure. So we're going to have the side rocker chrome on the car. Now, if we take a look at the back table, obviously there's the windshield wiper motor. I've got the mirrors, the glove box assembly. a lot of seals, a lot of things to do with the car. So there's a lot of stuff to be assembled from that perspective. And then of course, when we move over here, we're looking at the dash, and of course the rear taillights and the brand new bezels, because the old bezels were pitted and there wasn't really anything I can do about it. And these aren't that expensive, so just replaced it anyways. And of course, as you know, these are the sequential LEDs, so that's all been rewired in, so that's all done. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, there's the extensions and the gas cap. And then of course, all of my bagged parts from when I put this thing together or took this thing apart 20 months ago. So that's still got to go together. And of course, finally, if we take a look up here, we have some upholstery, which has again, this car has tons of upholstery, so that's got to go in. And the front grille. So the front grille has got LED fog lights, but they're also going to be the running lights. So when this car is running, those will be on all the time. And then when the car at night, when I pull the headlights on, these shut down, and then of course then the headlights are on. And of course the headlights are matching LED. You can see they're called truck lights. They're the standard 7-inch. I think they were generated originally for the Jeeps, but great headlights and of course great fog lights. So that's going to work together. And then of course front signal lights and rear backup lights. And the stereo is a AM/FM Bluetooth with MP3 capability. So, you can put a USB jump drive in there and listen to your music. I've also got a hidden aerial, because originally what I did with this car is I took the aerial out and I patched the fender and cleaned that up, so there is no aerial anymore. But I'm going to be using a hidden aerial, and that'll take care of it. And then of course underneath you've got all of the air conditioning components, everything that you need to do with the air conditioning. Well, thanks for joining. I think what I'm going to do is start on the tail here. I think getting the maximum satisfaction is, let's get that rear valance, obviously the lights and the gas cap and the bumper installed, and get this back end finished up. And then we can move into the trunk. We can get the stereo board installed, the subwoofer installed, get the trunk all done. Then we'll move up to the front of the car. The front of the car, we're going to need to obviously get those rock and mud guards installed, get the fenders properly installed. We've got the hood signal light louvers that have still got to be installed, so there's a lot of that stuff that still has to be done. Once the back and the front are done, then we're going to turn our attention to the interior. Now that's going to be the long part, because we've got a hood to go in, there's hydraulics that have got to go in, I've got power windows that have got to go in, power locks that have got to go in, all of that's got to clear everything. So we got a lot of work ahead of us. Hopefully you'll join me. If you enjoyed this short video, please let me know by hitting that like button, and I will probably see you in a week, and we're going to start on the tail. I'll see you then.